You're watching TSN, the Sports Network. Rocking the house with the Scott Tournament of Hearts.
Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to SpeedWeek. We've been away for the past few weeks, but this is the first of two shows during the month of March. We'll also have a program this coming Saturday morning at 12:30 a.m. Eastern, and then in April we'll be on every week preceding Saturday Night Thunder. Got a lot of news to catch up on, so stay where you are. The second Winston Cup race of the year was held this afternoon, the Goodwrench 500 at North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham. Now, for the past 3 years, the Rock has become famous for pole sitters going on to win the race, which means the Unocal bonus money has been won. In March of '89, Rusty Wallace became the first driver to ever collect Unocal bonus money, winning the Goodwrench 500. In 1990, Kyle Petty captured the biggest Unocal bonus ever of $228,000. To prove that was no fluke, Kyle once again won from the pole at Rockingham just last year. And this time the bonus was worth $68,400. Well, the string was broken today as Bill Elliott won his first at the Rock since 1987. It was Ford's first spring win at Rockingham since 1979. Bill becomes Junior Johnson's 10th different winner, a record. The second five, Mark Martin at the top. Brett Bodine was 5th until a late pit violation. Strickland and Darrell Waltrip 9th and 10th. Finishing 11th, Ernie Irvin, and he was 6th until running out of fuel late in the event. Completing the top 15, Matt, Shepard, Jeff Bodine, and Sterling Marlin. Richard Petty had a great run, finishing in 16th position. Dale Earnhardt was 24th, Rusty Wallace 26th, and pole sitter Kyle Petty finished 29th. In Saturday's Goodwrench 200, Ward Burton won his first Grand National event, beating Martin, Allison, Earnhardt, and Kenny Wallace. There were a record number 13 cautions during the event, holding the average speed to 91.6 miles an hour. Pole sitter Jeff Gordon finished in 9th position. The series has not raced there since 1985 because of political unrest. Since then, the track has been modified and lengthened slightly and is now a series of corners with no real straightaways. Many drivers think passing will be difficult. Bob Varsha will once again host our Formula One telecast this year, and earlier this week, while in California, he gave us his preseason thoughts about the series.
Thanks, Bob. The snowy mountains of Southern California are half a world from late summer in South Africa, but I think there's a few points we should make about the upcoming Formula One World Championship. Now, it doesn't take a Nobel Prize to know that it once again will be McLaren Honda against Williams Renault for the title. Brazilian Ayrton Senna has a chance to make history, becoming the only man other than Juan Manuel Fangio to win 4 crowns, while Englishman Nigel Mansell has his best chance yet to shake the monkey off his back by winning his first. Now, there is a problem coming into Formula One this year. A look down the list of 32 cars reveals only a handful of drivers who were hired specifically for their driving skills. In the 1990s, it appears it's not what your team can do for you, but what you can bring to the team in dollars or pounds or francs or lira or any other kind of money. And there are severe questions about what some of the new boys in Formula One or the new girl in Italian Giovanna Amati can be expected to accomplish. I guess we can all take comfort from the old motorsports crucible. If you don't qualify, you won't race. We hope to have the best 26 drivers in surely what will be the most exotic racing machinery in the world on the grid at Kyalami, and I'm looking forward to it. Back to you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. You really do need a scorecard to keep up with all the changes that have occurred over the winter. Only 2 teams, McLaren with defending world champion Senna and Gerhard Berger, and the Williams team with Mansell and Riccardo Patrese remain intact. Ferrari has retained Jean Alesi but replaced Gianni Morbidelli with Ivan Capelli. The new car is being referred to as the F-15 because of its radical side pods. Brabham has 2 new drivers, Eric Vanderpola, who drove last year for Lamborghini, and Giovanna Amati, the first female driver in Formula One in 16 years. They'll switch from Yamaha to Judd engines. Ligier has the same drivers, Terry Boutsen and Eric Comas, but will switch from Lamborghini to Renault power. Talks between former world champion Alain Prost and the Ligier team broke down last week, but they hope to have him under contract by the Mexican Grand Prix March 22nd. The Benetton team retains Michael Schumacher and hires Martin Brundle from Brabham. Their hopes are pinned on a new Ford V8. Brundle replaces 3-time world champion Nelson Piquet. Nelson Piquet has driven in Formula One since 1978. For the past 2 years, he's been with the Benetton team, winning the Canadian Grand Prix in '91. What are his plans? The Indy 500. More on that coming up.
Auto racing is brought to you by Castrol XLR, the oil engineered for today's car.
Can your motor oil take the heat? When today's engines reach high running temperatures, motor oil can thin out, break down, and leave engine surfaces unprotected. But Castrol XLR has been engineered to maintain a lubricating film, even at extreme engine temperatures. At Castrol, we believe if you can't take the heat, get out of the engine.
Get on the green with the greats. Learn to putt with the pros. For highlights from the world of golf, watch Inside the PGA, weekly on TSN.
Qualifies for the Indy 500, he'll be the 10th former world champion to race at the Brickyard in the modern era. The first was Alberto Ascari in 1952. 4 have won Indy: Jim Clark, Graham Hill, Mario Andretti, and Emerson Fittipaldi. Nelson Piquet will drive for the John Menard team at Indy this year, replacing Kevin Cogan, who recently underwent more surgery and will not be physically able to return. Nelson has joined us by phone from his home in Brazil. Thanks for taking time to be with us on Speed Week. Why did you accept this invitation to drive at Indy?
Well, I left Formula One because I did not have a competitive car to race this year. And when John Menard called me and I did a small investigation, I could see that he has a very, very good team, and he's a specialist in to do Indy 500 with the Lola, with the brick engines, and I accept because I can have a fair chance to do well in Indianapolis.
Now, I would think you might be just the least apprehensive about racing on a 230-mile-an-hour oval with concrete walls within inches. Are you?
Well, I don't think the speed and the wall is going to impress me. I don't think that will be the problem. The biggest problem I can fright myself is the traffic all the time. We're running this speed together with another car.
Nelson, have you talked to any other drivers who have come to IndyCar racing from Formula One, like Eddie Cheever or your fellow countryman Emerson Fittipaldi?
Yeah, when I got off, I talked with Cheever, and actually I only talked with Cheever because I was very close with Cheever in Europe, and he said it's not a problem. You come here and we can talk with each other, and I can give you a lot of advice. And also I have my countryman Fittipaldi, that for me always been a very big hero, you know, because he opened all the way to all the Brazilians to go to Europe, and for sure if I need any help, he'll be helping.
Nelson, thanks again for being with us. We wish you the best, and we'll catch up with you when you get here in the United States.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you later.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been quiet the past few days because workers are installing a new safety device on the front straightaway. Specifically, pit entrance is being reworked. It's been the scene of many terrible-looking accidents recently, Mark Dismore and Kevin Cogan, to name a couple. Well, a large piece of styrofoam is being installed at the end of the wall separating the pits from the front straightaway to absorb energy from any future crashes there. It's an idea that's already been implemented at several short tracks across the nation. Reaction from the drivers is favorable. Phoenix International Raceway has been busy recently as IndyCar teams get in their final testing before the season opener in Australia, March 22nd. Like Formula One, there are a lot of changes in Indy cars this year. The Budweiser True Sports team has driver Scott Pruitt back with an updated Made in America True Sports chassis.
Well, I think you can look at the car and you can see that evolutionary, it's aerodynamically a little bit better. I think we worked hard on every aspect of the car. One important thing we did is we almost ignored the engine. We said, listen, we know it's going to be better, but let's take that out of the equation and try and improve everything else. And I think we've done a relatively good job on that.
But the major change in this team since last year is their engine. They've abandoned the Judd for the Chevy Indy V8.
The biggest thing I can say about the Chevy is that it just pulls through the whole range. I mean, just as soon as you get into the throttle, the engine just starts pulling. We ran about 180 on the straight here yesterday, and that's as fast as I ever been around this place. So, you know, we're real enthusiastic about that.
The Chevy Indy V8 power plant, winner of the last 36 straight IndyCar races, will be challenged this year by an updated Chevy from the Penske camp and the new Ford Cosworth from the Carl Haas and Chip Ganassi teams. The Jim Hall Pennzoil team also got in some test time in Phoenix. In its very first race last year in Australia, John Andretti drove the car to victory. And they're one of the few teams this year that have made no major changes over the winter. The new Ford engine that Pruitt talked about was tested recently at Texas World Speedway with Michael Andretti reaching 233.5, the fastest unofficial lap ever turned by an Indy car in a closed course, and that was with a 91 chassis. One other IndyCar note, Canadian Scott Goodyear will drive for a new team this year owned by Derek Walker and Bob Tezak.
When he gets the puck, they start to worry. But by that time, it's too late. It looks like a wrist shot, but feels like a slap shot. In his last season, he scored 86 goals. His achievements before that were anything but minor. They say he showed potential. He showed them. His father, a hockey legend, hoped he would follow in his footsteps, but he took bigger ones. His passion for hockey is without equal, except for his passion for life. He's Brett Hull, hockey's top gun. Now you've got a shot at him all on an explosive video cassette that highlights his hockey career on and off the ice. Brett Hull, hockey's top gun. Just $19.95, plus shipping and handling. Call now to order. 1-800-668-HULL. That's 1-800-668-HULL.
Nissan has won the IMSA GTP Manufacturers Championship the last 3 years, but a lot of challengers are trying to change that this year. The latest made its debut last weekend at the Miami Grand Prix. The new Mazda RX 792P was not ready for the Rolex 24 at Daytona, but the new Lee Dykstra creation took to the 1.8-mile street circuit for some practice laps with driver Bryce Cobb. Then, while sitting in the pits, an overheated exhaust melted the heat shields and set the car on fire. And Marty Reed was in Miami and reports there was another unsuccessful Nissan Challenger.
Jeff Brabham brought home his 4th Miami Grand Prix win with Wayne Taylor 2nd and Bob Earl and Chip Robinson 3rd. So as the dust settled here in Miami, the points battle shapes up like this. Davy Jones will leave Miami with 38 points to 21 for Jeff Brabham. A 17-point margin is very healthy after 2 rounds of racing on the IMSA Camel GT Tour in 1992. This is Marty Reed reporting.
IMSA's next race is the 12 Hours of Sebring on March 21st, and one of the defending co-champions of that event is Derek Daly. He'll be back to defend the title, but that will be his final race. Last Friday, in his hometown of Dublin, Ireland, Derek announced he'll retire as a driver to pursue other business interests and his broadcasting career. By the way, ESPN will televise the 12 Hours of Sebring again this year. And speaking of ESPN race coverage, you open wheel fans have only a little more than a month to wait on the return of Saturday Night Thunder. Beginning the first Saturday night in April, we'll have 5 live telecasts from Ventura Raceway in California featuring the USAC Western States Midgets. In May, the series returns to the Midwest for 11 more USAC Midget and Sprint races from either Indianapolis Raceway Park or the High Bank Winchester, Indiana Speedway. The World of Outlaw sprinters ran their 3rd event of the year last Sunday. Sammy Swindell and Dave Blaney had recorded victories in Florida before the Winged Warriors headed south of the border for the first time in history. The teams gathered at a shopping center parking lot in El Paso, Texas, before making the short drive across the border to Ciudad Juarez. Their destination, Autopista Juarez, pardon my Espanol, a dirt track just outside the city. This would be another Steve Kinser race, but like John Hausman would say about Smith Barney, he earned this one. Close call number 1, he ran over the right rear of early leader Lee Brewer. Went off the track, yet was able to get back on course without giving up the lead. Close encounter number 2, a bump with Mark Fleming on lap 18 as he tried to lap the slower car. Finally, with just 7 laps to go, a pileup coming out of turn 4 sent Craig Keel up and over. That's Steve just squeezing between Craig and the wall. There were no injuries in the incident. After that, it was easy as the 11-time Outlaw champion won his first of 92 at an amazing paycheck of 15.6 million pesos. That's 5,200 American dollars. The top 5 in Mexico, Kinser, Kenny Jacobs, Stevie Smith, Andy Hillenberg, and Danny Lasowski. The Outlaws were also in action last night in Bakersfield, California. Here's a look at the top finishers. The group's next outing at King Speedway in Hanford, California, Wednesday night.
This is not what you want in a shave. Now you've got the edge. With 6 rich lubricants for less irritation, you've got the edge.
I love to ski, but I race to win. It's the same with what I drink. McCain Punch. McCain's the winner for me. I tried others, but I prefer McCain for the taste. And I trust McCain quality from my guests.
McCain Punch, made with pure fruit juices from concentrate. Taste and quality win every time.
At the NHRA's Motorcraft Nationals last weekend, Jerry Ekman won his 2nd straight pro stock title, defeating Don Beverly in the finals. In funny cars, 51-year-old Tom Hoover had an easy victory when Richard Hartman got out of shape at mid-track and crossed the center line. And Pat Austin defeated Doug Herbert in the top fuel category as Austin once again became a double winner, also taking the alcohol funny car title. There were no national ET or speed records set at Firebird, and so the mysterious 300-mile-an-hour barrier remains just that. Here's more from Rick DeBrule.
It's the kind of mystery that Alfred Hitchcock or Sherlock Holmes would truly appreciate. Tucked somewhere amongst these transporters is a murderer. Well, the victim hasn't died yet, but there's no question it's going to. And someone back here is going to be responsible for the death of the 300-mile-an-hour barrier.
But if you're looking for a cold-hearted killer, don't look in a driver's suit.
Hey, don't blame me on this deal.
Not me.
Not me. It's the assassination team right behind me.
Hey, it's not me.
It's really out of the driver's hand. He's just along for the ride to enjoy it.
So just who is the mastermind? Well, it's probably a guy with a wrench in his hand. Someone like Ed McCullough's true ace, engine man Lee Beard.
I'm going to kill the 300-mile-an-hour barrier. I just don't know when.
or maybe Eddie Hill's compadre, Fuzzy Carter?
Well, we was the first to run break the 4-second barrier, and you know the 300 mile an hour would be real neat, and I'd like to go ahead and do it so we can get back to racing.
Now, there's no question a lot of these guys have the motive. The key question left is, what will be the murder weapon?
Yeah, I'd say cylinder heads. We're looking at probably in the aerodynamics. Another way is a supercharger. Clutch application. Horsepower. Lots of horsepower.
Weather conditions and track conditions.
Get your nitro motor to rev up down there on the other end of the track is a big key. And you know, these things shoot out there and they pull real hard to about 1,000 foot, and then you can feel them start to slow down a little bit.
You're going to have to see an increase in RPM out of the engine. If we could get a couple more 100 RPMs out of it, that would do it.
But not everyone believes the murder is imminent.
So what is it going to take to murder the 300 mile an hour barrier?
Changing the rules. The engines won't go any more RPM, and we can't put any bigger tire on the car, so we're really in a bad spot. I don't think the cars are going to go 300 with the same gears we have in it.
So it is a mystery for the slickest of sleuths, and one in which the anticipation is nearly as great as the prize. In Phoenix, I'm Rick DeBrule reporting for SpeedWeek.
One new driver-car combination at the Motorcraft Nationals. Mike Dunn replaced Tom McEwen in the Jack Clark-owned Top Bueller. Mike, another defector from Funny Cars, lost in the first round after qualifying third fastest. Meanwhile, Pro Stock champion Darrell Alderman, who is under NHRA suspension, is scheduled to be sentenced next Friday on federal drug conspiracy charges. Even if you've followed racing for many years, this photo may surprise you. Yes, that's the king of stock car racing, Richard Petty, and his number 43 dragster. Richard tried his hand at drag racing in 1965 after NASCAR outlawed the Hemi engine. Now, he never won a drag race, but has found victory lane 200 times in stock car racing. In this week's Petty Moment, Dr. Jerry Punch remembers his one and only on ESPN.
March 13, 1983. After a 43-race winless streak, Richard Petty holds off impressive newcomer Bill Elliott for victory number 196, his first on ESPN. It was Petty's 11th career win at Rockingham.
It's been a long time, but, you know, we're doing good today. We've got a lot of good breaks. A couple of them crashed there, a couple of them blowed, and I had all my hands full with Bill there right at last because, you know, he ran pretty good too. So it was just a good day for us. Everything worked just right.
One out top of the ninth. There's the 1-2 pitch. Fly ball to left. Gone! Some just can't wait for the season to begin. Feel the heat. Catch the Expos and the Braves live Saturday, March 7th, 1 Eastern on Real TV, TSN.
Racing is brought to you by Castrol XLR, the oil engineered for today's car.
Imagine 9 straight days of snowmobile racing across more than 1,200 miles of eastern Canada. Well, 21 teams from 3 countries are toughing it out in the Harry Conner race, the Iditarod of snowmobiling. Here's Brian Baxter.
30 below zero plus 90 miles an hour on a snowmobile equals human popsicles. But this year's Harry Conner race, run in 9 time stages from Ottawa to Quebec City, features 21 teams from 3 countries competing for nearly $75,000 in prize money. One rider from each of the 3-man teams is required to tow a survival sleigh throughout the entire race. And the action started last Friday night with the prologue, a warm-up race that simulates the difficult conditions the snowmobile riders face throughout Harry Conner. Though it was just a warm-up, there was still tough sledding for many of the teams. Normand Boyer of the Andros team took a nasty spill. Then he got back up, jumped into the saddle, and completed the race run despite a broken nose. Then on the first leg of the race, Harold Fontaine's snowmobile overturned and caught fire, taking him out of the day's run. And though the riders can travel at high speeds, they can also get bogged down in heavy snows and steep hills. The idea for the Harry Conner race is based on the way the Indians used to travel in sled teams of 3. Despite the frigid temperatures and the risks, the riders say it's the adventure of the snowmobile trek that makes Harry Canna unforgettable. I'm Brian Baxter for SpeedWeek.
We'll tell you who won on next Saturday night's show. And that will do it for this edition of Speed Week. Stay tuned for IMSA racing, followed by the South African Grand Prix. So long, everyone.